There they are.
What's going on? What's up?
Yeah, how y'all doing?
I'm
Good,
doing great. How
good.
you doing?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for coming on today and being a part of the heart.
Sure.
You both are in your own respects amazing, dynamic entrepreneurs doing your thing. I'm excited to talk to you today, and let's just jump right in because this is exciting. I don't normally like I put in my post. The last time I had a couple on was Terry Vaughn and Karan Riley. So I'm so glad to have you on today. This is almost historic. So y'all,
We'll take it.
Yeah, we definitely will.
absolutely. Look, you all. How long have you been dating now?
9 months?
Yep.
Yeah, 9 months.
All right, all
Yeah.
right. Well, look. Every month matters. All right.
Oh,
So
every single one.
every, if you're anything like my partner, every day matters. So yes. But I'm glad to see you all together, focused together. Tell me a little bit about how you met and then what you do individually.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm a co-founder of an organization called Keys to Black Wealth, and we bring resources and tangible information to the underserved community. And one of the segments we were going into was legal and business contracts and things like that. And of course, the lovely Jalyn Parks was. We were fortunate enough for her to grace the stage, and after she was done, it was just kind of more of a networking opportunity between me and her doing some business for me, and we sat down and talked, and it just kind of took its own turn.
Yeah, she was doing that business. I love it.
I have my version, but we'll take that.
So what's your version? Because in every meetup story, there's always two versions.
Yes, absolutely. So that it is true. I met him at a Keys to Black Wealth event. Shout out to Keys to Black Wealth. They do amazing things in the community. They're on the rise.
Yes.
And so, of course, yes, I did speak on a panel. And while I was on this panel, there was this guy who, I had to send him my bio, my headshot. And I was like, this guy is rude. Like, he doesn't have any personable skills. He seems mean. Like, forget him. And so I go to the event. I kill it.
She did.
And afterwards we talk, and he's like, hey, I think that we may have need to connect on some business. I'm like, okay, cool. So we schedule coffee. He cancels coffee. Y'all. Then we reschedule coffee. He came 40 minutes late.
Traffic.
He left all this out, by the way.
It was out of my control. Traffic.
The only reason he could stay is because I was at a coffee shop already doing work, right? So I wasn't even phased. But once he got there, I told him, I was like, listen, I don't know what you want to talk about, but you got 30 minutes. I got to go.
I was like, you good? We don't need too much time.
And then we were there for 2.5 hours. So.
Woo! Come on now.
So that's what happened.
2.5, huh? So it was worth the wait, is what you're saying?
Yes, it really was.
This is what's funny. I actually tell all of my clients that it is worth the wait. I'm willing to wait for something that's right for me, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So when did you know it was a good fit?
I'm sorry, you said what?
When did you know it was a good fit?
When did you know it was a good fit? Like she fit you and you fit her?
Well, first off, I kind of say like when this was the first female I approached where my thought process was for her to be like a friend and somebody that I could kind of just be open with. And so, obviously she was an attorney and you got that attorney-client privilege, so I felt like she understood the code, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I could just be authentic and kind of let her know where I'm at. And so when I was kind of opening myself up in conversation, she said one thing and it like blew my mind. She was like, I had kind of got done explaining to her some of the things I wanted to do. And typically, I hear a few different responses like, that's too big of a thought, that's crazy, that's, all the negatives. And she was just like, I love the way you think. I was like, whoa.
Mind blown, right? So you better lock that down quick. What about for you, Jalyn?
Lemar is just a really authentic person. And honestly, I wasn't sure at first. I just wasn't, but he just really worked his way in, and I was able, for real.
Okay, all right.
Tell the truth.
It's his heart. Like, he doesn't think like most people. His heart drives him. He's also a risk taker. And so I'm a risk taker as well. And I just always think outside the box. And so when we were having conversations, I'm like, oh, he's crazy like me. And so I really felt like I could be authentic. Like, in past relationships, I found myself adapting to what I thought they needed. You know what I mean? As opposed to being like, hey, here I am. I'm kind of ghetto. I'm kind of religious. Like, do you want me or not? And once I was able to just really be my authentic self, I was like, oh, this guy, he could be around for a little bit. So yeah, here we are.
Well, I can tell you that is a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Look, most people end up trying to come in with this farce, this fake version, this mask of themselves, and try to present what they think the other person needs. And the other person actually just needs you to be yourself, so they can figure out if you fit or not. And looks like you fit, so that's awesome. I love that. What is one of the bigger challenges that you face, though, as two risk takers? I know that there are some head-butting moments, because risk takers, just because you generalize that doesn't mean you take risks the same way.
Yeah.
And, one could be financial, the other could be social, the other, so what do you feel like you fit? Where do you feel like you butt heads sometimes that you have to have more talks about than just instantly agreeing?
Yeah. I would say scheduling. Because, for me, when it comes to time, like, I can lose some money. I'll get the money back, right? But time, I can't get time. Like, if I'm sitting somewhere and I just have idle time, I'm doing work, or I'm thinking of something, or I'm taking notes. And he's kind of the same way. So our schedules tend to clash, because I'm like, hey, I have this shoot on the other side of town. And he's like, well, I have this Zoom call, or who's going to get the kids, you know what I mean? And so we also have 2 children. We have 2 bonus kids, and so we have to factor in the kids as well, and family members. And so I think we're really good communicators. So what we did was we created a joint calendar. And so now that we have the joint calendar, it's like, okay, I see what he got going on, he sees what I have going on. We have a conversation about it, because of course it's just about communication. So
yes.
I think that was a big thing initially, but we were definitely able to work through it.
I'll say, like, I am even in chaos, I kind of got organization. So she can't really be organized in none of that. And so I can tend to put stuff to the side, where to me it's like putting it out the way, but to her it's like that just put it up. You know what I'm saying? So I'd probably say that's the biggest thing, where we just go back and forth. She always telling me, like, okay, can you put these dirty clothes up? Or you make sure you do this. And she does so good of, like, just kind of coming behind me and just making sure it's good. And she don't really, like, nag me or go at me about it. And so that's the other thing that kind of makes it more of a soothing thing in a relationship, because she know me and she accepting of it. You know what I mean? It's just a work in progress.
I love that. Look, you are not each other's parents.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you are 2 human beings, and the way you live is going to be sometimes the way you live, especially when you are kind of set in the ways that you are. That whole calendar thing just spoke to my whole heart, because my partner, he has clients all day, and literally he just got a calendar. Like, I don't know how he was handling 50 clients without a calendar, but he was doing it.
Necessary.
So we just got him a calendar. Like, praise the Lord, hallelujah. I would ask him, like, what you got today? Oh, let me go check. So a joint calendar is a beautiful, look, it's called a solution. There's so many ways you can argue, but until you have a solution, like, don't even bring it up until you have a solution. Like, that's always my thing. Don't even bring it up until you have a solution. So bravo to that, hand claps and all that. You both are amazing in your own right. You are a co-owner, a lawyer. you have your own law firm, like you're doing your things. How do you manage? Because in every relationship, there is a season, and I've seen this and I've studied this. There's always a season, and this is. Let me say this. Let me preface this. This is across every relationship type. So, men on men, women on women, men on women. Period. There is a season where they're trying to figure out who's going to take control of what. Right? Yeah. There's that season of trying to figure out control. And it's so much that psychotherapists actually call it the control season. So how have you managed who's going to do what, who's going to own what, and who's going to figure out, like, when things arise, how you come to the table and figure out who's going to manage what?
So, first and foremost, like, it's all communication. Like, each scenario that you coming into, each situation that you coming into, it's really communication, because a lot of the stuff you can tackle together if you just kind of figure out the play and figure out what you need to do. But one of the things that, again, is one of those things that I admire about her is she came to me, and when we started talking, I mean, she was in a better position than I was in a whole lot of different things. But she came to me and was like, I want you to take lead. Like, I'm willing to follow you and I'll trust you. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to do with anything about where you're at financially or anything like that. And so when she told me that, it kind of took me off, because it was like, woo! Usually you got to fight with that. It'll take time. And you know what I mean? She was like, I trust you. And so that right there was like that big thing that eliminated a lot of those problems that you tend to run into in relationships as time progresses, and trying to kind of keep your balance, keep your side, let them have theirs and things like that. Like, we went into it together, and her allowing me to be lead. And then when we run into those situations, we literally like hash it out, and it's like, okay, XYZ, boom. Go out there and knock it out.
Love that.
You know, for me, I have always had my Superwoman cape on. You know, like, I'm a boss. I am. But
nothing wrong with that.
I'm an alpha woman. But you know, sometimes Superwoman gets tired too. I was looking for someone to trust that would allow me to take my cape off. And even though Lemar, in his own words, he wasn't where he wanted to be quite yet, like, I saw it in him. You know what I mean? Like, I prayed for him. I prayed for him specifically, down to his eyes, down to his height. And so when I saw him, he wasn't what he thought he should have been, but I knew what I asked God for. You know what I mean? And so
you're talking good right now.
Yeah, and so he's such
keys, girl.
we're so different in that, like, he's like a really big risk taker. He'll come in the house with a big idea and really be on something huge. And I'm with the risk taking, right? But I'm always like, okay, I hear you and I'm with it, but let's talk about the logistics. Like, what are the specifics? Like, how are we gonna do this? What does it look like? What's the timeline? And he's like, oh, okay, no, you're right. And so I think we really balance each other out in that. Like, I'm kind of like the logistics of it. He's like the visionary. And so once you put it together, I don't really think there's anything we can't do.
I believe it. You know, every ship needs an anchor, and every ship needs to know how deep it can go.
Sure.
And there has to be somebody that's surveying the water to know, like, hey, we can't go that deep, but we can go this deep. So I'll go with you this deep until we can figure out how to get something that can go a little deeper. Absolutely. So I am with that. That's awesome. And let me just speak to that cape piece, because there's a lot of women that are going to watch this, and there's a lot of people that are going to see this. And we know that we're in a society, we're in a culture right now where women, we have our first African-American, Asian-American vice presidential nominee, who's a female, and right now, I'm sure she's thinking the same thing. I've got to be a superwoman right now. She's had to be, but a whole nother level right now. Yeah. And to have a safe space to go home and know that you can let your guard down in that environment. Like, I understand, because brothers we have our own challenges. Like, we got to be alpha even without having said we're alpha.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of we just gotta be.
Yeah.
And the trust and the good decision making and all of that. But to have a young woman on your side who actually is in a space where she is thinking about her alphaness and still allowing you the space to lead and to guide is a beautiful thing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'm giving you some points, brother. I just hope you know that.
Yeah, so
helping you out.
I shake the keys and keys to Black Wealth. You know, when you come to our events, it's an entertainment education event. So you come in, and every time you hear something that's like key worthy, you shake your keys. You know, at poetry events, they snap their fingers.
Yeah.
We shake our keys. So when we hear something that's key worthy, we shake them keys. You know what it is.
You dropping all the
I'm here for it. I'm here. I was just on a show the other day, and the person I was interviewing with, she had a megaphone. So every time she heard something good, she would pull it out. So I'll take the keys. That's a little less intrusive.
Yes.
So I'll take the keys. Any day. I'm here for it. Look, so again, you both are doing your thing. You've got an amazing following, good people looking at you. Tell us about this, because I always think about this. When you get in a relationship that becomes public, where you are, I'm using this word lightly, so don't take it too deeply, but advertise that you're together and people know that you're together and you do things together and people see you together. Because there's a lot of people that hide their partners.
Yeah.
When you have public relationships and you're in a public space, how are you handling being public together with 8-9 months under your belt and trying to still figure each other out in that time frame? How are you handling that dynamic of that? For a lot of people, that can be challenging.
Yeah, here we go. So in terms of social media, Lemar is big on social media. I mean, he's a marketing officer for his organization, right? And he also has another business, and he's always advertising and doing things. And so it's big for him. It's huge for him. For me, on the other hand, I have to do it for my business, but I would rather hire someone else to do it. You know what I mean? Like I've been very private. In the past, before I had my business, I would take months off of social media. Like I like not being I like people not knowing my next move. I like people not being in my business. Like that has always been my thing. But as a business owner, you know, it's important to use social media. It's important to connect with people and let people know what it is that you're doing. So when we started dating, you know, we had those conversations like, okay, like for me, I was like, okay, I'm straight, nobody having my, you know, knowing my business at all. But he was like, you know, well, you know, I kind of want people to know that we're in a relationship. And I completely understood that. So we were on two different pages. But for me, even though we were different, it wasn't that big of a deal because I was willing to do whatever was going to make him comfortable. I mean, we could scream it to the rooftops. Because here's the thing, I'm a divorce lawyer too. So I've known people who are advertising how much they love their spouse, and they just consulted with me about wanting to get a divorce. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this social media stuff, I'm like, half these people lying. I'm like, that people are posting, talking about they're in love, and they're going home and they're mad at each other. And so I told him, I was like, you know what? What's important for me is what happens between you and I. What happens for me is what happens when we get home, what's really going on. But by the same token, you can have a private relationship and have not everybody and declare that you know that you're with that person. So you know what I mean? Like everybody knows that we're together, and you know we're both in the scene in Columbus and a part of what we call the Talented 10th, making things happen. But when it comes to me and him, like our household items, like what's going on at home, it's private. Like a lot of people are like, wait, y'all did what? Y'all bought a car? Y'all moved? Like, yeah, we just moving in silence, and you'll find out when we get there. But yeah, we were definitely not on the same page, but we had to make adjustments to have that conversation. Like, okay, what do you need? Because Lemar's love language, one of them is words of affirmation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I recognize that. And even though that's like, you know, even though that's not something that I need, I recognize what he needs. And because I love him, I'm going to give it to him, even if it makes me uncomfortable. And so that's kind of where we landed on like the social, on the social media tip and trying to kind of keeping things public, but still private. What you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely came down to a lot of communication and understanding. For me, as far as like, and this is my interpretation on the question, it's kind of dealing with other influences as far as voices and people talking and stuff like that. For me, I got a tunnel vision mindset. And so once I kind of get on my tunnel vision, it's like everybody that's in my tunnel, and that's all I see.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I'm at. I don't think there's too many things that can penetrate it at my level of focus right now. And so that's the biggest thing. I think it's constantly keeping something, your why, a bigger target than just you. You know, when I look at my communities and I look at the things that's happening on the single moms, I look at the average African American's net worth is set to be 0 by 2050. Those things is way bigger than me. And with her by my side and my boys right there and my team with me, like I don't need nothing else but to be focused on that.
Yes.
So that's where me being tunnel vision and focused on those things and knowing what I got, the solitude of what I got is enough for me.
Ooh, that's good, brother. Thank you both for that answer, because that is a challenging space for a lot of people, and you answered that so eloquently. Look, I know there's a little bit of communication that you got to put into that. Everybody's going to come to the different table with different spectrums.
Yeah.
You know, there are some couples that they love being on the scene. In fact, I've watched couples sell products together on social media and do all these things. Personally, I can't do all that, but for those who can, more power to you. I'm kind of in the spectrum that you are, because for me, you know, my partner, if he didn't have to be on social media, he wouldn't be on at all. And I am on because like Jalyn, it's my business. Like if I'm not on speaking love, then
You're not
you
there.
know, I'm not there. I'm not relevant. But let me get to this, because there were 2 points I wanted to make when I heard you say this about words of affirmation. I heard the keys come out. I need to say this because this is big, and this will help you take your relationship to the next level of intimacy and closeness. When I encourage all of my love coaching clients to read the 5 love languages, identify your language, what points out, but not to take it too seriously. And when I say that, that is an amazing guide. 5 love languages is an amazing guide to point out your area of insecurity.
Oh.
Yes. We think that we need to point out one particular love language that speaks to us because that's the way we love, when that's not true. Actually, the way you love is through love. You should be able to equally get love from every language. That should be your ultimate goal. That's what you should aspire to. It shouldn't be that you stay stuck on this is the one I need or else. Because like you said, Jalyn, in that, you get uncomfortable. It may not be comfortable for you to give that because that's not you. But it actually points out an area of deficiency that you can build on, because what you can't give is also an area that you need to focus on to figure out why that's difficult.
Okay.
I like that synopsis.
Yeah.
It's real, like on both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you say I need words of affirmation, if we were in a coaching session and I kind of made you go back a little bit, investigate a little bit, what didn't you hear enough early on to make you feel affirmed?
Yeah.
Like, because you need it now, that means you didn't have something earlier. And when you say words of affirmation are difficult for you to give, were you not used to hearing those in your environment? It's not something you're comfortable giving often. Is it something that you just like, show me, don't tell me? Yeah. I'd rather you show me that you care instead of telling me that you care, because I've heard people tell me and it didn't mean anything. So you're a divorce lawyer. That makes perfect sense. You say you're in rooms with people that they say it all the time and they're posting and posting and posting. Doesn't mean much. Show me you care.
Absolutely.
You know? Right. So for both of you, now you can see in your crossover, brother, you got to work more on being able to accept other languages in a more even manner. Because when she shows you something, you got to be able to receive it like when she tells you something.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you
true.
got to be able to tell him something just as easily as you show him something.
Absolutely. That's
All right.
huge.
So that was just my little side point. All right. But
Appreciate
that
that.
would be something to work on. That's just next level. You know, where you're at, don't think that that's a bad space.
Mhm.
It's healthy that you did it and that you acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But to know what next level means, to get even more intimate, to get even closer, and to see the homework that you could do together, that's powerful.
Yeah.
To grow and develop in that space together, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's some real conversations.
Agreed.
You're all right. So you got 3 more months before a year, and then you got some work to do to get to that level. 1 year, you'll be like, look where we at.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're doing some stuff.
Appreciate that. That's huge.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about keys, brother. Tell me more about that.
Okay. So, yeah, man. First off, it's been a crazy journey. We're going on our second year, and I mean, like we had no idea it was gonna be this. We just wanted to help people and get the information out, and it was like we met one person after another, and each person that we met was like a power piece to our puzzle. You know what I mean? And it just catapulted us into the next event. We've done a bunch of different unique style events, from like the average panels and coming and seeing how we vibe to that, to seeing what we call as a media day, and it being more like a bunch of content gathering, podcast stations, stuff like that, to our actual events where we just did an event with Romeo this past Black History Month event, and
Yes.
it was like crazy lit. And he came and, you know, obviously shared the things that his dad teaches him. And it's just crazy, you know, getting those same keys from Romeo, getting them from Master P, and that whole entourage that they have of information and resources. Again, from the top. When you can get it from the top, that's the best place to listen to it. You know, it's right from the source.
Mhm.
And so, being able to connect all those people together, and you know, I say the biggest thing, we had a shining moment. So we obviously COVID happened, and we had to shift and go virtual. And we had somebody that was on our virtual event, and they said that they had a mentee that was locked up, and they called in 5 times to hear and listen to our event from jail.
Wow.
Just to get that information, those resources, that knowledge.
Wow.
And so that right there was just like, it was like the seed that planted the forest, you know, the Amazon rainforest. That one seed that was that one that we needed to know that, okay, like we need to turn this up a notch. So that's kind of where that went, and it's where we at now. We planning the event coming up in October, so stay tuned. We coming to a city near you, ATL. Let's get it.
Come on, ATL. You coming to my city?
Hey,
Yeah, she gotta come to the event.
Yeah, we pulling up.
Let's talk. We need to do something. You know, the reason why I'm so excited about what you're doing is because I started a group called Mogul in the Making. And the group is geared towards people having a safe space to be able to connect, grow, and share information. Look, I realized I worked in multiple industries, from entrepreneurism to being in the political space, to being in entertainment, to being in hospitality, and the like. I've been in quite a few. But in every space that I've been in, I have seen on the job, if you will, or in the space training, right? In the space training where there were mentors and people telling you this is the right thing to do, don't do this, we got you, come over here, let me show you how to do this. In the entrepreneurial space, that simply is not the case. You have to buy somebody's class, you have to get some kind of package, you gotta buy the $10,000 whatever mentorship, sponsorship, whatever they call it. And while that's good, I know they got their hustle, but we need a space where people can share ideas and share information and cross it that doesn't cost a thing. And I just believe in that. I just believe that we need that. If we're talking about raising up Black entrepreneurs, raising up people who are going to lead the next generation, and we're telling them to get in, even though we have some of the biggest deficits financially in our community than ever before, To tell them they got to pay $5,000 and they got to figure out where they're going to get it from. It's like crossing a line. It's like, you know, I don't know if y'all Alpha Kappa, whatever, Omega, whatever, but
My people's on
you
here.
got to figure out where to get that money that you didn't have when you decided to put. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, right. And to tell them they got to do that just to get your information and then have money to actually start the business. So that's why we started Mogul in the Making. I would love for you to talk to you more offline about that. But with what you started, and Jalyn, I want to go to you
on
real
that
quick.
a little
Because,
bit.
what's that?
Can I touch in on that?
Oh yeah, go for it, brother.
Yeah, I think it's a healthy balance. I definitely think that you have to have a sense of seeking. You have to have a sense of resourcefulness to go out there and search for what you need to get there. There's been a lot of things that have been put in front of my face, and most of it didn't work. But I was willing, and I needed the experience in those failures that kind of led me to the next thing, that led me to the next thing. It wouldn't be Keys if it wasn't for Wake Up Now.
Yeah.
Wake Up Now got shut down in 2012 for being a pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, network marketing, whatever. But the things that network marketing birthed to me in that moment was possibility. It was understanding sales. It was understanding the sense of a team and having that backing. And so you have to have mentorship. You have to have some financial literacy, you know, and a lot of that stuff is free on YouTube. If you look for it, it is free in books. Think and Grow Rich or Black Choice. That's a book that every black man need to read. Every black woman need to read.
But I will say though, if I could interrupt for a second,
Good.
like I do think that you have to capitalize on your failures, right? It's necessary. I have learned so much about myself in failing. However, if there was more of a space where people can be vulnerable and say, I don't know how to do this. You know how? Can you share? Like for me, I'm a connector. And so I'm always trying to, for another young lawyer coming up behind me, I've made so many mistakes, right? If I can reduce
Always cycling. Where you at? Where you at? All right, they may be frozen just a little bit. That's okay. I'm sure she was saying some good stuff. I can't wait to hear that. I believe it. Where you at? There you. Oh, came off. Don't come back on, y'all. Don't worry. You're coming back on. That was good. Look, we're in a space where we need all of this. We need all this talking. So let's jump right back in. Come on back in. Come on back in. I'm loving all of this. Thank you, all the hearts, by the way, coming in. All right, there you are. Keep talking. You were talking too good. Go ahead.
So yeah, Lemar was talking about, you know, how his failures were important for him to, you know, get where he is now. And I'm all about that. My failures have taught me so much as well. However, if we get more than a mindset of sharing our failures to reduce our peers' failures,
yes,
get so stuck in trying to like hold secrets, right? Like there's no shortage of blessings. Like I'm of the mindset that what's for me is for me. So if I share this with sis over here, it's not gonna mean anything for my money because I'm gonna get mine, right? And so if we are creating atmospheres and creating platforms where we can get together and share and hopefully reduce the other person's exposure to those failures, I think we're doing better for our community.
Okay, so my brother, let me tell you why I agree with everything she said. I agree with you because I do believe in having a personal drive and a personal hustle. You got to have it. But understand that every culture, other than our culture and our community, has a built-in training mechanism. When people come to this country, they are taught how to go get a job even though they're illegal. They are taught how to own and operate a gas station. They are taught how to manage a spa. They are told how to go get your nails done and start that shop. Like they are brought in knowing how to do it and trained how to do that. Because I think it's a part of our history that we think that because I worked harder, then I deserve it more and you should celebrate me more. When really, I'm fine with having somebody that I studied under and they taught me exactly what to do and I followed their manual and I got it at 25 instead of hustling and grinding and making mistakes. And at 35, I figured it out.
Absolutely.
We generate generational wealth quicker when we teach people faster how to do the thing without the mistakes that they had to make.
Yes.
So I agree with you in the hustle, but I think we got to train the hustle, but teach how to overcome the shortcomings.
Yes.
And if we can merge the two, we will start catching up with some of our other cultural counterparts that have left us in much of the dust, unfortunately.
I'm with you.
Yeah, no, what I was saying was, as far as the seeking aspect, like I went and found my mentors.
Mhm.
My mentors didn't have to, like, you know what I'm saying? I went and found them. I went knocking at the door. You know, and he'll talk about he was at old boy door every day. That was a free job. He gave him a free job to mentor and learn from the millionaires to figure out a faster way. And so you definitely need your mentorship program to be on 10, or at least having those people, which is why we created the keys. So we can take people like her in her position and find somebody in the crowd who aspires to be a lawyer and say, this is where you meet that at. Now you find somebody you want to be like, and go learn some keys as a fast track. Get these doors open way faster instead of us beating the doors down.
I'm with you, brother.
Work smarter, not harder. You know.
That's it.
And that's
look, we have gatekeepers, like you mentioned about Master P and Romeo. We have gatekeepers and people that have access to a lot of things, a lot of lessons. Because one thing I've realized about love and about success, this is two things that everybody wants, right? Mm-hmm. Two things everybody wants is love and success. And this is why I blend them on the heart, is because everybody wants a fast track to both. Everybody does. Nobody wants to wait for love. Nobody wants to wait for success. But the reality is timing is everything.
Yeah.
And I tell people who are complaining about, I don't know if either of you did this before you got together, but complaining about being single and how long you were single and why you couldn't find a good person and why you couldn't find a good man. You might have been in that situation. I'm not judging. But there are a lot of people that do that. And I tell my clients, look, instead of complaining about what you don't have, focus on what you do and start centering your energy on how you can make the thing that you don't have tangible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I could see from your relationship, like you said, Jalyn, you prayed for this man. And thank God you had a praying woman, because her prayers were like a magnet drawing your black tail to her. And while you think that she came to your platform because you called her, she actually called you in prayer. That's a beautiful thing. But in success, it's the same thing. You know, you have got to be speaking the thing that you want. You know, look, I'm big on affirmations. I don't know if y'all do this, but I speak every day an affirmation over my life. Today, my affirmation was, I'm receiving more in my life because God is enlarging my territory.
Yes.
And I believe that. Like, from every person I meet, from every interaction I have, from every conversation, from everything that I learned, my territory is enlarged.
Yes.
And just this conversation today, enlarging.
Yes.
You know, you got to look at that. A lot of people would do the adverse. They would say, well, I'm not where I want to be. And they would focus that energy on that. How do you stay positive in moments where you realize rationally you're not where you want to be, and maybe your law firm's not where it wants to be, maybe Keys to Black Success not where Black Wealth is not where you want it to be? How do you keep yourself energized, positive, and focused when that thing slips in your head?
You know, and a lot of our friends can attest to this too. We're both very positive. We have very good mindsets, and not that we haven't been through anything, but we are always speaking over each other's lives and our friends' lives as well. God of our, like, I'm that person where when something's going wrong, some of my friends call me because they know I'm gonna lift them up. Like, if you go in our refrigerator in our kitchen right now, we have a list of our goals for 2020. Very specific goals. Specific goals like, we want an SUV by this day. Boop, SUV
Yes.
obtained. We
Come on.
want to gross X amount of money per month. Boop, did that. Like, you know what I mean? And I absolutely attribute it to our ability to work, but we spoke that thing. Like, I absolutely believe in the law of attraction. We're Christians. We believe in faith, but faith without works is dead. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
So we're always, and there are times when he's down and I let him sulk. I let him get out what he wants, and I'm speaking life over him. I'm like, you are a king. You can do whatever you put your mind to. This is just but for a moment. I got you. And vice versa. Sometimes I'm sad and he's like, girl, you are the best lawyer on earth. I don't feel like the best lawyer on earth, but he keeps telling me I am. Maybe he's right. Maybe one day I will be.
You better take maybe out of all that.
Yeah, and so like faith and affirmations, that is something that really drives our relationship. And I think that's one of the big things that connected us, because I've been in past relationships where people told me I was doing too much. People told me I was like, you need to sit down, like you're doing too much. Why don't you have a seat? Like, maybe you don't need to do that. Just stay at your 9 to 5. Like, no, like that's just not who I am. I've always been very ambitious. Like to connect with Lemar and have someone who's on my same level of craziness in terms of goals, in terms of what I want to achieve. And we both said, hey, I want to be a millionaire. I've met people who are like, a millionaire? You ain't gonna get there. Like, no, bro, I want to be a millionaire.
hundreds of millions.
Yeah. And so I think that's really important in relationships for you guys to be on the same page in terms of what you're speaking over your life. Sometimes we have to correct each other. Like, I may do this. No, you will do this. No, you will do this. It's just, I think it's huge. It's huge in our relationship. And I just thank God that we're equally yoked in that aspect, because I don't have to be dumbing down my dreams or watering down my dreams because he doesn't think we can get there, and vice versa. It's just a really blessed situation. We're so blessed.
I love that. I love that. What about you, brother?
I would say, as far as being positive, like, and she'll tell you, like, I'm a big family person. I got a big family. And when I think about my family, I look at these big $20 million, $40 million, $100 million mansions on YouTube. And I'm always asking myself, like, if they got a price tag on it, somebody can afford it. And I could totally see my family, my kids, my grandkids running through this place all up and down and just enjoying this moment. And it's like, even me being on the bottom, that book is called Think and Grow Rich. Like, it's all mental. And so money is only a matter of the lack of or the abundance of ideas. And so that's where I kind of just always put that as like, a lot of things can't be answered with money, but a lot of things can be answered with money. And so I'd rather have it and answer those things I can, and then deal with the things I can't as they come, than the other way around.
I love that. So what I've told, and I know you talk about the keys to black wealth, and so money is going to be a part of what you talk about, of course, naturally. Because I deal with success and love, I have generalized it a little bit more and broken it down, I guess, because my people are a little bit more like, make it easy, make it plain. So I have said very simply, what you really want is you want to always be able to have an answer to any problem. And when you have a problem, like I got to pay this mortgage, you want to be able to have an answer, right? So it's always really what you really want. When you need love, you want to have a partner because that's an answer to your problem. So what we really want is to always be able to say, I got an answer for that. My bae is my answer. I got an answer for that. My checking account's my answer. And that will always bring you back to, so what, come on now. You just want answers to your problems. That's all. We all got some problems, right? But he said, more money, more problems. Let me tell you something. if you know how to position your life, it's actually more money, more answers.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
I'm saying, because
Hey, can we get that on the shirt?
Yeah,
Man.
look,
sure.
hello, you have got to realize, like, what you're seeking is just an answer. That's all we want. That's all we want. When that hit book came out, The Secret, everybody just wanted an answer.
Yep.
Everybody, what is it? You know, and so this law of attraction, like you just call the law of love, because love is a universal thing. When you find the thing you love, it attracts money. When you find the person you love, it attracts fulfillment. When you find the place that's right for you, the home, the job, the career, you feel so good in your life. It doesn't require much.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, everything is really just love. Like, when you are in a space of love, everything fits.
Yes.
And that's why I said I'm a love coach, even though people want to call me other things. I really talk about this because coaching people to think about love as the true answer. When you focus on love as your answer, you actually answer everything.
Wow.
That's dope. That's fire.
Actually, it's everything. Everything is based on a system of love. It's not based on a system of wealth, because wealth is its own system. Wealth is its own. You cannot love what you're doing and become successful in the sense of being wealthy, but you're not happy. But when you build a system of love, you can be wealthy and happy. So this is why I teach love. Let me go here, because I think this is good. What question? Because you got a chance with the love coach right now to talk. So, what one thing where you are right now, 9 months in, trying to heal something, work something, take something to the next level. What would you want to ask me right now to heal or address or give a solution to, that you are like, hey, we could do better on this?
I mean, I would say, let me ask you this. I got a good question. What is the most common problem that you find when it comes to relationships that you see that start off like this? Where is the breakdown happening at?
And
Absolutely.
Can I be more specific?
Yes, go for it.
It's like this, not just entrepreneurship, but I mean, Lemar and I, we found each other, and it was like, boop, 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 boop. Everything happened so fast. And so where we love each other, and this is going amazing, and I have no doubt that we'll be together. Like, we are always like working to get better. And so, like, what are some things that us as newbies, and newbies who are so in love and we're sure about this fitting, like, what are some things that people tend to push under the rug that we should have our antennas up for, understanding that we want to do this?
Thank you. Ding, ding. Shake them keys. Go ahead, brother. Shake them keys. All right. Nailed it. All right. This is honestly, look, I'm going to tell you. Number one, because my brother actually asked the question. You gave more meaning to it, but it was the same question. Because the number one thing that people do when they find this person, that they are, they just fit. They're right. It feels right. It's good. We click. Number one thing they do is move too fast. Let me tell you. I'm not saying what you've done up till now has not worked and is not feeling good and all of those things. But there will come a moment when you realize that certain things have been missed because moving too fast, it is natural to miss things. Think about this. Think about driving and you're going super fast down the interstate. How many things do you not notice when you're going fast?
You just noticing, making sure you don't hit nothing.
Yeah.
You may look at the things that you've always looked at because you're used to looking at them.
Right.
But all the things that you don't ordinarily look at, you miss because you are zipping down the road, right? Think about riding in the passenger seat when you're normally in the driver's seat and you are able to look out the window and you're going, like, you're not in a rush, you're just driving, and you start to say, oh man, I didn't know they were building that. Oh, I didn't know they were putting up, I didn't know that was for sale. You start seeing the things that you're not accustomed to wanting to look at or notice. And most couples get in this luxury phase of wanting to acknowledge either, and the good thing is at least you're going to deposit. Either they acknowledge all the bad stuff or all the good stuff. It sounds like you got a little mixture of the two, but in reality, because you have moved fast and you've acknowledged that, I'm certain there are some more things that you've got to address. There are some more conversations about where you've been, about who you've been, about what you've done, about what you got looming and lingering in your life, right? Like if you both were to do an assessment and be real for just nod, you don't have to say nothing because you can have your own private conversation. I'm not asking you to say nothing right now, but in your own personal heart, you know there are some things that you've been able to navigate around because you've been moving fast.
Right.
And what showed me that, without having to get deep, was that whole words of affirmation. So in that moment, I see, like, now we can dive in a little deeper. So what's going on? You know, what is it? Why do you need to hear so many words? You know, why is it hard for me to get these words? Why is that uncomfortable? And as you dive deeper into those, and as you slow down,
I have a question though. I'm sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so you talked about it being uncomfortable, right? And I always say that wanting to get out of your comfort zone, thereby be uncomfortable, that's pushing past a fear in spite of, right? So like, no, it don't feel right, but I still want to do it because it's for him. Like I've been in past relationships that were terrible, right? They were just bad. But there were certain things I used to be like, this is an issue for me. And you don't hear me. If it's not a big deal, just do it because you know it makes me feel some kind of way. You know what I mean? And so like for me, I'm like, well, I know this is an issue for him and I love him. Yes, I'm out of my comfort zone, but if it's for you, babe, and this is what I got you, like here, let's do this. Because it's because he's worth it. You know what I mean? He's worth it. And so for me, like being willing to exit that comfort zone and be uncomfortable and press past that fear, that's huge for me. Because there are some people I would not hear.
Completely understand. Look, it could sound like what I'm saying is that you're not in a good space because you're doing it even though you don't want to do it. But that's not what I mean. Right. What I'm saying is, think about it this way. You don't want to work out, right? Say you don't want to work out. Do you want to work out? You may not want to work out. Okay, so you don't want to work out. But let's say a doctor comes and says you got to work out. Okay, let's say a doctor comes and says you have to work out because your health is on the line. Now, you may not want to work out, but you do it begrudgingly because you love your health, right? You love you. Mm-hmm. So you're doing it. That does not take away from the fact that you're doing it. It doesn't negate that. You're doing it, so you obviously care. It shows that you love yourself, all of that. But you got to get to the point, and this is all I'm saying. See what I deal with is the level you're on and the level you can aspire to.
Sure.
The level you can aspire to is, actually, I want to work out. Because working out is good for me. It's not, if health was not an issue, working out is the most natural thing to make sense to make sure I live a long and healthy and prosperous life. Yeah. It's a mental shift. Mm-hmm. It's not that it's bad that you're working out because of something that's outside of you, right. But it's saying next level is I want to do it because it's good for me in the sense of I just want to do it. It's good now. It feels good to do it. So what I'm saying to you in this relationship, for both of you, it's not one-sided, on each other's side, I want to accept more than her words of affirmation, because as a human being who knows that love can come from all directions and can take different forms and expressions, I should be able to receive it equally. It should feel as good in a word as it does from a gift. It should as equally feel as good in a gift as it does with time. And if I'm not there, or if it's difficult for me to give it outside of me just wanting to do it because I want to show them love. If it's not natural, I need to figure out why this expression of love, take this, why this expression of love feels unnatural.
Mm.
I'm just trying to get you deeper with your source, because your source, your spirit, is accepting of all 5 love languages equally.
Yeah.
You got to figure out why you are in tune with them all equally.
Got it.
Yeah,
That's good. Check you.
Yeah. Some homework. Just some homework.
That's good.
Just some homework. That was a great question. I think slowing down and diving in a little bit more, here's all it does, because people get nervous with this. Moving fast feels real good till you get in a bad accident, because that's what's going to happen. Eventually you move so fast that the accident is, if it crashes, it's a worse, you've seen this divorce lawyer, if it crashes, it's a worse crash than it should have been.
Yeah.
Right? So slowing down your relationship, I'm not saying stop working together, stop doing all the things you're doing. What I'm saying is, in the space that you're able, in your downtime, find the time to slow down everything that's swirling around so fast, all these ideas and all the stuff you got going on, and just in that safe space, talk. Say, that crazy love coach was telling us affirmations weren't everything. So let's talk. Like, what's going on in your past? There's got to be something. He said there was something. So what it was, and dive in, have safe conversations, and allow yourselves to join more intimately, because that's all it is. It's just intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Allow yourself to be more intimate in that space, and finding that safety that you found with your finances and making decisions and trust in that space. Now that space takes you even deeper.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's good.
So I'm good for that. It feels good?
Yes,
Perfect.
absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
Look, I'm just prying all over you, but you got a lot of supporters. I love everybody that, while I was saying all that, they were like, I love y'all. They were trying to be like, don't beat up on them. Don't do that to them. They are a beautiful couple. Let me say this to y'all, and I'm going to let y'all do some shout outs for what you're doing in just a moment. But let me just say this before I close. I thank y'all so much for being on today. There's multiple reasons, but the one I will point out today is that you are openly together, and you are willing to promote each other, support each other, endorse each other in a way that is beautiful to see, and that is necessary for our community in times like these. Mm-hmm. So stay strong and stay vigilant in protecting your relationship and setting healthy boundaries all along what you're doing, so that there's no interference in this path that you're on. I'm very excited about seeing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you having us on. It's been awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.